Hello, and welcome to another edition of The Voice Crying in the Wilderness, number 50. This is Revealing Angels, Genesis 6, Part 2. Jesus says in Matthew 18:10, "Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones," meaning children, "for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold or see the face of my Father, which is in heaven." We are constantly being observed by angels in which write down every word in books, every thoughts, every deed, and those will be the books unbelievers will be judged by. So know we are being constantly watched and guarded due to God's love. These are called the watchers, as mentioned in Daniel 4, verse 13 through 17. I saw in the vision of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. So we can see biblically that they do exist. Let's continue with the revealing of the angels. So, as we can see so far, these angels are as natural brute beasts who do nothing but lust and deceive, uh, and their eyes are full of adultery, and they cannot cease from sinning. So let's start again with Hebrews, verse 5. "For unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee?" For here he is talking about the superiority of Jesus. Remember, we are made sons, not slaves. Jesus is the true Son of God. The angels are sons of God as we are in his creation. Jesus is of God or in God. So you are either a son of God, little s, or son of Satan, big S. Satan hates us and has since Adam. Doesn't this sound like Satan talking? Hebrews chapter 2, verse 6. "For the angels hath he not put in subjection or control uh, of the world to come, whereof we speak, but one in a certain place testified." Check him out. Now, who is this one that is testifying? It's Satan. He would not worship the first king of this world, Adam. So, in a certain place testified, or he said this, "What is man that thou art mindful of him?" Or the Son of Man, which is Adam, was there uh, where there were only two sons, true sons of God, Adam and Christ, uh, that thou visiteth him, or walking in the garden with him. Thou uh, mindeth him, thou madest him a little lower than the angels, and thou crownedest him with the glory and honor, and did set him over the works of thy hands, the earth. Hear that jealousy in the words of Adam being crowned with dominion and not him. He hath put all things in subjection under his feet, the king. And in verse 9, it describes Jesus in the same manner as Adam. So in this we can see that the angels of Satan, the anger of Satan, or jealousy and hate for the human race, and he has taken the kingdom by force and will use his horde of angels to create the hostility between God and man. So if we go to Job 38:7, it says, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Here we can definitely see the speaking of angels, but Jesus is the Son, not a son of God. Figures of speech, as to say, in the use of the word son, depending upon who it's relating to in the statement. Sons of God, little s, relates to angels. With me, he said, it is said that you are gods, little g, but you will die as men. Okay, moving on to 1 Corinthians 11:10. Here it is speaking of the covering of the heads of the women, in which is symbolic, indicating the authority that exists above the woman, yet still under Christ. It is also common for prostitutes to shave their heads and wear blonde wigs, signifying availability to men on the streets, just as non-respectable women go out in public dressed as a prostitute. For this cause ought a woman to have power or a symbol of authority on her head because of the angels, the watchers. So you can imagine if angels were tempted to fall today due to the sights in which they see concerning the woman. Now let us go to Matthew 24 concerning the days of Noah, laying out the conditions before the flood and the conditions of humanity at Christ's return. The generation of pleasure-oriented and self-gratifying people by eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, carrying out everyday life without heeding the coming judgment, knowing that that this last generation will be totally unprepared for the return of Christ to judge the world. Suddenly, as a flood came and swept them all away. Now, let's go to Matthew 18:10. Again, speaks of the watchers or guardian angels, if you will, who watch over and constantly report to God the deeds of men. It reads, their angels do always behold or see and report to the Father in heaven all the things concerning his children, meaning us and especially the little ones. It's better to have a millstone around your neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea than to offend or cause to sin one of these little ones which believe in me, Christ says. And again, we have proof of being watched and recorded. Let's move to Daniel 4:13 through 17. And I saw in a vision or dream of my head, upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. On to verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, possibly archangels, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whosoever he will, and sitteth up over it, and the basest or lowest of men. Now Daniel chapter 2 verse 43, in which Again, I wonder what is going on here. It reads, "And whereas I, though saweth the iron mixed with the miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay." Sounds like it might happen again. And lastly, we end up why these angels are bound at the river Euphrates, because they made a pact to come down, and they came down on Mount Hermon and bound themselves with incantations, and that which they saw, being watchers, they came down and took. They took wives of all that they chose, as Genesis 6 reads. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, note the little s in sons, saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all in which they chose. And the Lord said, "My spirit shall not always strive or abide with man, for he is also flesh." That sounds strange too. What else is he? Yes, oh, spirit. "Yet his days shall be 120 years, the time it took for Noah to build the ark, and God's timeline for the flood. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that," meaning after the flood as well as in the time of Noah, uh, in the time before the flood, "when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown or fame, the offspring of the angelic beings called the Nephilim," as in Numbers 13:33. "And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak," the Anunnaki, wow, "which came of the giants. These aren't even the original giants. These are after the flood. Just imagine what they could have been like. The earth was full of violence due to these mighty men of old, and we were like grasshoppers in their sight. The evidence is written on every wall and every tomb from Egypt to Asia, proclaiming the deeds of these mighty men or angels. They left their mark all over the world. Will we be so blind that we can't see the writing on the walls? Thank you.